So we're going to get started in a few minutes. So today I have Arpit with me. Arpit is Appsmith's co-founder and CTO. So we're going to spend a few minutes going over new updates, and then Arpit is going to talk about upcoming integrations as well as how integrations work and our plan to improve the integration building process. So that's the main agenda for today. So this will take about 30 minutes. So we'll just get started in another 30 seconds while we wait for latecomers. All right, I'm going to get started. So welcome. Today, our focus is going to be on product updates. We're going to look at planned integrations for our next quarter. We're going to discuss how integrations get built today, get an insight into how Appsmith's architecture looks like. And then we're going to talk about how we are reducing our time to build new integrations. So to start off with, let's talk about our new updates from the last 2 weeks. All of these updates are out on our self-hosted as well as our cloud-hosted version. So please keep an eye out for this. The first one is now you're able to control your table headers. What this means is you can now have a clean table like on this left corner right here. You can also have the table with all the headers, which is search, filters, download, row height, pagination. But you can also have a table with none of them or with just one or few of them. Like here, you just have a search bar and here you just have pagination. So this was done, I believe, I think David from our community had requested it. So we got ahead and did this, and this will just make all your apps look a lot cleaner because you often don't need all that functionality. It'll also help you prevent somebody from downloading data when you don't need them to, or playing around with filters if the filters don't really do anything. So this is an update, and there are a few more updates coming to the table itself that you'll see over the next few weeks. Yeah. So this is the first big one. The next one is now you can draw a bounding box and select multiple widgets. So you can also use command click to select widgets, but we've also introduced the bounding box. This is still in beta. Soon you will be able to move selected widgets all together. As of today, you can copy paste groups of widgets, or you can delete them, but you cannot move them around. We are working on introducing the move feature very soon. So this is still in beta, and it's going to be in beta at least for the next month or so. Because this affects quite a few things in Appsmith, and there's a little bit of a performance price to be paid because of this feature. So we are working to get this right. So try this out and let us know if you run into any issues. The fourth one is the list widget now supports input widgets. So the list widget so far was in beta. It continues to be in beta, but the latest update lets you have input widgets like drop downs, date pickers, anything inside Appsmith really, so that you can actually update every single card if you need to. So far, the list widgets were good for read only or for submit actions, but now you can update them. Again, this is in beta. Let us know how this goes for you. The final one is the Snowflake integration. This was an integration that was requested by multiple community members. Snowflake is obviously a very fast-growing data warehousing product, and we're really happy to support it. The reason we are very proud of this integration is this took us just over 2 weeks to build and test and launch. And it's the fastest integration that we've ever done. And as time passes, every single integration is actually going to take a lot shorter time, and it's going to get released a lot quicker. So this was something that was done by one of our engineers, Nidhi. Now moving on, let's talk more about integrations. So we have a long suite of integrations that we are planning for this quarter as well as the next quarter. So the first one is Arpit, do you want to take it from here?
Yes. Yeah, so because integrations is a great way to kind of extend the functionality of Appsmith and make it more useful. Our objective over the next couple of quarters is to try and make Appsmith as useful and as friendly to play with other technologies and other products as possible. And we are going to focus very heavily on integrating with a lot of different databases and services over the next couple of quarters. Uh, the three that you see on screen are the first three that we are going to tackle. SMTP, in order to send emails. We understand that a lot of internal tools require emails to be sent out, and we just want to make that process simpler. So SMTP, generic JDBC is something that we're working on in order to support. We understand that there's a whole suite of SQL databases out there, and there's a long list of them. So we want to get started with at least the generic JDBC driver, so that in case we don't support something natively, a particular database natively, you can still go ahead and use the generic JDBC connector and can just integrate with your database for at least the basic queries. And the last one is Google BigQuery, yet another big data product by Google. And this has also been requested multiple times by a variety of users. So we're going to kind of work on that. So while these are the top three things that we will work on, there is there are more integrations that are planned. So shell scripting has been asked so many times now, wherein all of us as developers, we have random shell scripts, Python scripts, Ruby scripts, etc. lying around on our server, and we want to make invoking those shell scripts easier through Appsmith. So you could just SSH into a server, execute your Python command, and just return the result back through a click of a button. Uh, the last one, which is GraphQL, this is a slightly deeper integration. We understand that GraphQL is another fast growing protocol on top of HTTP, and we want to support, and there are some incredible products out there which do support GraphQL, and we want to kind of enhance Appsmith with a GraphQL connector. So these integrations will hopefully make a lot of apps that weren't possible today on Appsmith, allow you to build those apps, as well as make existing apps a lot more functional, a lot more usable for all of you.
Thanks, Arpit. So next we are going to have Arpit talk us through how integrations get built today and show us a little bit of insight into what the Appsmith's architecture looks like. So Arpit, why don't you go ahead and share your screen?
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Cool. So overall, I'll just take a couple of minutes to kind of zoom out and talk about the Appsmith architecture a little bit, because then it helps us understand where do integrations play a role within the entire Appsmith stack. So every Appsmith installation, whether it is on our cloud or whether it's on your own EC2 instance, can support multiple organizations. So you can have multiple orgs set up on a single Appsmith installation server. Now, each of these organizations can have multiple integration plugins. Integrations and plugins is used a little interchangeably. We are going to across the code base. So we have multiple integration plugins that can be installed or used for a particular organization. So these could be MySQL, Snowflake, Redis, so on and so forth. For a given plugin or an integration, so let's say this was Snowflake, you can create multiple data sources for that particular integration. A data source is nothing but your configuration, like username, password, DB name, endpoint, etc., for a particular integration. Now, parallelly, each organization has multiple applications, and each application has pages. Inside a particular page, you can now create actions for a particular data source in that page. So an action depends both on the page that it belongs to, the page where it was created, and the data source from which it inherits its credentials, default values, etc. So an action over here would literally be your select star from users query. So that's an action. So the goal for any integration or plugin is to be slightly more generic, so that it can support multiple data sources for so it can support multiple data sources at the same time on the same JVM. So that's the overarching thing. So a lot of the heavy lifting for when writing an integration is taken up already by the Appsmith platform. So when you're writing an integration, let's say Snowflake or MySQL or GraphQL or etc., you don't have to worry about connection pooling. You don't have to worry about closing connections, so on and so forth. A lot of this heavy lifting is done already by Appsmith. So all that you need to do as a contributor or as an author of a particular plugin is to simply write the basics of how to connect to the database and how to query the database and return the results back. It's actually it's fairly straightforward. If you're looking for how to do this, so you can go to our contribution guidelines. Over here, there is a section for contributing a particular plugin. In the plugin contribution guideline, we've given a step-by-step, we've broken this down step by step to show all the steps that it takes to create a particular plugin. All Appsmith plugins today are Java Maven modules. So which is why you'll have to start out by creating a new Maven module with your plugin name like a Hello World plugin. Following which, you need to add a few details to the pom.xml to tell Appsmith's platform that this is a new plugin that we are adding. So there are a few files that you need to add and some data that you need to add to your pom.xml. The third thing that you need to do is create a file called plugin.properties. This is metadata for the plugin, and this is used internally across the platform. So this plugin ID needs to be unique across the board. So no two plugins can have the same plugin ID, and this is how we uniquely determine which plugin needs to be invoked for a given action or a given query. Now, in the Java code itself, you basically just need to extend a base plugin class, which will automatically ask you to write an executor class, which implements a plugin executor interface. Now, this base plugin class and this plugin executor will automatically, the ID will prompt you to implement a bunch of functions. So there are about 4 functions that you need to implement. They're very straightforward functions that just deal with validation and then execution of a query. The last thing that needs to be done is adding this metadata to a file called database changelog. So this adds your plugin into the database, which is a repository where Appsmith tracks all the plugins that are globally available for users. So the same metadata that was defined in the plugin.properties file over here, this is what the JVM requires, and this is what is exposed out to users in order to list the plugin for them. Without adding it to our repository of plugins, it is not possible for us to, users will never see your plugin, even though you might have all the code and all the test cases written for it. The last bit that we've done is sort of made it a little simpler for folks to end up creating. So these forms that you see, like for example, if I go to a Snowflake data source, when we are defining this data source, for example, so this entire form that you see, so even if you have no idea about React or etc., you can you can very easily construct this entire form through a DSL JSON that we define over here. So there's this very simple DSL where you can define a form, and each of these children can be either input text or a dynamic text or of type password. So there are a few form fields that we support, uh, which you can sort of use. We are still sort of improving the documentation around this, and we'll continue to kind of make this process simpler. But as of right now, for example, over here we've given an example, a sample file, a JSON file, and that's pretty much it. And you just compile and run your code, and you'll have your plugin listed over here. Uh, so the list that you see over here, that is coming from the database changelog or the DB repository. The important things to kind of keep in mind when, so right now there are about 10 steps, and then the 11th one is just a compilation. So these 10 steps might seem like a lot, but it literally takes like, about 5 to 10 minutes to kind of go through this entire process. We are actually working to make this simpler so we are working on an Appsmith CLI, which will, given a particular command, so Appsmith generate plugin. Using this command, we will automate all these 10 steps, so you don't even have to do any of this. So we'll automate it via a single command. So all of this stuff will automatically be done for you, so that you can then go in and just start writing your code inside your own functions and classes in your Hello World plugin, for example. The important parts to sort of remember when writing a plugin is, obviously, everything needs to be accompanied by test cases. So when you create a Maven module, automatically it adds a sample test file as well. So one of the things that is actually required when contributing a plugin, and it's just good practice, is to write test cases as you sort of write your plugin. It always ensures that your code is doing the right things. The second important thing that I would like to highlight is everything within Appsmith, the server, the client, every part of the stack within Appsmith follows a reactive paradigm. A reactive paradigm basically is an event loop model, very similar to what Node.js does. So Appsmith is powered by Spring Webflux, which is pretty much what the event loop model. So what this means is that any plugin that we write, typically we would request you to kind of go and just do a quick Google search to find if there is a reactive driver already available. So MongoDB, for example, has a reactive driver available. Redis has one. JDBC or MySQL, on the other hand, does not really have a very stable reactive driver yet. So JDBC is an example of a blocking driver. If a reactive driver is available, just blindly choose the reactive driver. On the other hand, if there is no reactive driver available, there are ways in order to make a blocking call into a reactive call. You can check this out in Postgres plugin. So Postgres plugin has this how we've converted so over here, if you see, we've made this mono.from callable. So this command takes any blocking code inside it and converts it into a reactive paradigm and puts it on the event loop. The reason I'm stressing on this is that any blocking call, whether it is in the Appsmith platform or whether it is in your integration plugin, will cause the entire Appsmith system to come to a screeching halt. So just avoid blocking calls anywhere. Anything and everything needs to be a reactive system. So that's why I'm just stressing a little bit on this, because we don't want you to kind of end up writing an integration and just shutting down your Appsmith system. and this is like a practice around any reactive architecture that you see, whether it's Node.js or Spring Web Plugs. Any reactive architecture follows this. Just avoid blocking calls. So this is one thing that I'd like to highlight. Apart from that, yes, unit testing super important. Uh, if possible, do TDD, test driven development, if you need to. Uh, yeah. Apart from that, we are always available on Discord, on GitHub, um, on Intercom as well. So in case you're trying to write a plugin and you run into any blockers, if you have any questions, if you have any doubts, please feel free to kind of reach out, and we'll help you and get you along on the process quickly. If there's a specific plugin that you or an integration that you need, uh, uh, where which wasn't already on the list that Abhishek showed, please reach out to open a GitHub issue, and we'd be more than happy to prioritize any particular integration based on the interest that we're seeing from the community.
Thanks, Arpit.
Yeah.
So Arpit, one of the points you made was that people can look at the Postgres integration and use that as a template. Is that correct?
Yes. So we have about 14 odd integrations already on our platform, and you can look at any one of them, whether it is Redis. I'll just show you. So.
Okay, and they're referred to as plugins, right?
Yeah, so they're referred to as plugins. So like I said, integration and plugin is used a little interchangeably today in the code base.
Right.
So you can look at any of these, all plugins or all integrations go into this folder, Appsmith plugins. So you can refer to any one of them as a template, and look at how some other plugin has addressed a particular issue. So when you create a plugin, it will just show up as a folder over here. A Hello World plugin will just show up.
Thank you, Arpit. That was helpful. So one of the things I'd like to repeat that Arpit mentioned is we are reducing the amount of effort and time that it takes to build every integration. Today, an integration like this might take a few hours to build with testing and everything, maybe like less than a day. But we're going to bring that down to a few hours or even shorter. That's one of our biggest goals for Q3, is to shorten the time that it takes to build integrations, so that we, the Appsmith team, can build integrations, as well as we are going to make it really easy for all of you to contribute integrations, especially when there is something that you really need, but we are unable to prioritize it. So that's one of the biggest goals of Q3. And you're going to hear more about updates in the integration building style a little bit in the future, like maybe 2 or 3 months down the line, sometime next quarter. So this is the main thing that we wanted to talk about today. You can track all the integrations that we are working on in our issues or in our projects. You can also create a new issue if you need an integration. So that should be that's the way you can track what we are working on. So having said that, we are coming close to the end of our project. End of our not a project, end of our session today. So the last thing that I want to talk about is our next week. So next week we are going to be doing like a joint session with N8N and Appsmith together. So we're going to work together to build a very short social media management application. So that's going to happen next week, Thursday. So please do join us for that. We know a lot of you already use N8N. We use N8N internally at Appsmith as well. So we are trying our best to make that integration work really smoothly, because we believe something like N8N works really well with Appsmith. So we're going to do a demo next week where we're going to build like a model tweet deck, a small version of tweet deck basically on next Thursday. So that's what we have for next Thursday. Now we have a few minutes to take a few questions. If you have any questions that you need support with, or you have any questions about the project, please feel free to type in the chat or turn on your mic and ask us. So Arpit, while we wait for a few questions, I have a question for you. Okay, we have a question here. So David has a question about information about enterprise use versus community use. So David, we are going to start working on our enterprise features towards the end of next quarter, and our enterprise features are going to be around identity management, authentication like SSO, integration with multiple SSO providers, multiple providers like Okta, LDAP, Auth0, etc. So that's something we're going to be doing. Our enterprise features will also have things like audit logs, more control over the Appsmith theme. Those are some of the main features that we are working on. The other things that we'll be working on the enterprise feature side are bigger, more developer control around, for example, environments and versioning. This month and sometime in next quarter, we are going to be introducing Git sync features so that you can do local development, push all your updates to a Git server. So that's going to be part of our community edition. But we're going to extend that and add more features to it for our enterprise edition. David, does this answer your question? Okay, thanks. We are also going to be releasing more information about our pricing sometime in the next quarter. We've spent a lot of time trying to identify the best model of pricing for something like Appsmith. We don't like the kind of pricing models our competitors have. We feel they're not fair and they don't really make sense. So we spent a lot of time trying to identify the best pricing model that makes sense for small teams, individual developers, as well as large companies. So that's something we are still researching on, but we're going to release more information about it sometime in the next quarter. As of today, we are very focused on ensuring that our community edition is built really well, supports a lot of use cases. We've all used open source projects where once the community edition comes out, once the enterprise edition comes out, the community edition gets ignored a little bit. We don't want to run Appsmith like that. So that's why we are spending a lot of time ensuring that our community edition is just perfect for everything that individual developers, consultant, mid-sized teams want to do with it. While our enterprise edition will build on top of some of these things and make it easier for large companies to adopt us, and also provide a strong revenue channel for us so that we can continue to run the Appsmith project. So if there are no more questions, then I think we can end the call. I'm going to spend another 30 seconds just waiting for a question, or we are going to just end the call after that.
Sorry, Abhishek, was there something that you wanted to ask?
Yeah, Arpit, I wanted to ask you, when it comes to identifying what integration to work on, how are you making those decisions?
We kind of sort of feed off the community on GitHub and on Discord. So we kind of scour through Discord and through upvotes on GitHub. So in case, and that's how we kind of end up prioritizing some of our integrations. So in case, there is a particular database or a service that you want natively integrated within Appsmith, I would highly recommend that you, upvote that GitHub issue or let us know on Discord. Because and that's how we sort of keep account of, there are so many users in the community who kind of want this. That's actually how we ended up with Snowflake, because we were seeing a lot of people ask for Snowflake, and that's why we went ahead and we did Snowflake before we ended up doing, SMTP or one of these other integrations. So it's the community's upvotes that literally that's how it came.
That sounds good. Thank you so much, Arpit. Thank you everybody who attended the call today. It was great to have you. We're going to see you next Thursday with N8N. And all of you have a great day and a great weekend. Take care, everybody. Bye.